Speak, my dear child, there is something I need you to hear today, not tomorrow, not when things get better. Right now, in this exact moment, with your tired eyes and your heavy heart, I need you to stop what you are doing and truly listen, because what I am about to say to you is not just words. It is not a nice feeling that fades after a few minutes. What I am speaking into your life right now is alive. It breathes, it moves, it carries weight, and it will not return to me empty. I do not speak and then wonder if it will happen. I do not make promises and then forget them. When I say something, it becomes real. When I decree something over your life, the entire universe shifts to make it happen. Angels move, doors unlock, paths straighten, hearts soften, resources flow. Everything in heaven lines up behind my word, and my word is now walking straight toward you. I am not saying this to give you a warm feeling for the day. I am saying this because it is the absolute truth. What I promised you I meant. I still mean it, and I will always mean it. My yes is not a maybe, my promise is not a suggestion. What the first spoke over you before you were even born is still standing, still active, still on its way. And today, right now, music, is closer to you than it has ever been before. So, do not look away from this moment. Do not brush it off. Do not let your mind talk you out of what your heart already knows. The word is not coming someday. It is here. It is now. And it has your name written all over it. My dear child, I know the voice that has been whispering to you. I know it well. That cold, quiet voice that slips into your thoughts late at night and tells you that you have missed your moment, that you were supposed to have it all figured out by now, that you have made too many mistakes, that you were not faithful enough, strong enough, or worthy enough to receive what I promised. I have heard every word that voice said to you, and I am here to silence it. You did not miss it. You did not ruin it. You did not lose what I set apart for you. Let me say that again because I need it to land deep inside you. You did not lose what I set apart for you. I do not choose people based on how perfectly they perform. I do not hand out blessings like prizes at a competition where only the best person wins. That is not how I work. That has never been how I work. When I chose you, I already knew everything. I knew the days you would be strong. I knew the days you would fall. I knew the moments you would doubt me. I knew the nights you would cry and wonder if I even cared. I knew your weaknesses before you discovered them yourself. I knew your struggles before they ever found you. And knowing all of that, I still looked at you and said, and quote, yes, I still pointed to you and said, that one, that heart, that life, that story. I chose you with full knowledge of who you are, not just who you would be on your best day. I chose the whole you. Every part of you. You have been measuring your worthiness by your behavior. You look at your past and calculate whether you deserve what I promised. But that is not my system. I do not measure your value by what you have done. I measure it by what my son did. He did not die for the perfect people. He died for the real people, the struggling ones, the ones who fell and got back up, the ones who got lost and found their way back, the ones like you. MKTLD. Every video on this channel is created with love, faith, and dedication to sharing Godandapos' word. If these messages inspire and encourage you, you can support our mission through PayPal, links in the description and pinned comment. Thank you for being part of this journey. DEAR killed D. You are not earning your way into this breakthrough. You were already placed into it by grace. Every time you fell but chose to get back up, you were proving that your spirit was built to carry promise. Every detour you thought ruined your path was actually being folded into the road I designed. Speak. I knew when you would slow down. I knew when you would get tired. I even knew the exact moments when you would wonder if I had forgotten about you. But I never forgot. I was never far. I was never sitting in heaven keeping a list of your failures. I was watching you with love. I was counting the moments. I was waiting for the season when you would be ready. Not because you had become perfect, but because your heart had become open. And now here you are, still here, still believing, still willing to hope, still reaching for what I promised. That alone, that simple act of still being here, is the evidence of why you are chosen for this. You could have walked away. You could have closed the door on faith and said it was not worth it anymore. But something inside you kept holding on. That something was not just your own stubbornness. That something was the divine DNA I placed in your spirit before you took your first breath. I built hope into the center of who you are, and that hope is not going to go unnoticed. That hope is exactly what I am honoring right now. This release that is coming into your life is not a second chance. It is not plan B, because plan A did not work out. This is the original plan. This is the thing I always had in mind from the very beginning. Even through the messy middle, even through the silence, even through the long, dry waiting that made you question everything. This is it. This was always it. So lift your head right now. Shake off the guilt that has been sitting on your shoulders. Wipe off the shame that has been painting your reflection with lies. You do not need to explain to anyone why you are still waiting. You do not need to justify your hope or defend your faith. The reason you are still waiting is simple. You are still called. And you are still called because I never changed my mind about you. This moment right now, this breath of prophecy that is moving through you as you hear these words, this is the final answer to every fear that told you it was over. It is not over. It was never over. You preserved your place by standing through every storm. You did not disqualify yourself. You actually qualified yourself through your survival. And now I bring it to you not with a lecture about what you did wrong, not with a reminder of your failures. I bring it to you with a smile, with joy. Because my joy over you has never wavered, not for a single moment. And my decision to bless you, yes, you, has not been and will never be revoked. My dear child, let me tell you something about the nights that nearly music broke you. The ones where the weight of everything pressed down so hard that breathing felt like work. The nights when you asked me where I was. The nights when your prayers seemed to bounce off the ceiling and fall back to the floor unanswered. I saw every single one of those nights. I was in every single one of those rooms with you. I watched as you carried pain so sharp it left marks on the deepest parts of your spirit. I watched you smile for others while hurting on the inside. I saw the questions you were too afraid to say out loud. God, are you still there? God, did I do something wrong? God, why does this feel like it will never end? I never turned away from you, not once. I never flinched. I never walked out of the room, and I need you to understand why. Because what I am about to say will change the way you look at everything you went through. That battle was not meant to destroy you. It was designed to develop you. The pressure was not punishment, it was preparation. While you were crying, I was building something inside you. While you were asking why, I was answering in ways your eyes could not yet see. The pain you carried was not wasted. Not a single tear, not a single sleepless night, not a single moment of confusion or heartbreak. All of it was being used. All of it was becoming something. Think of it this way. When a potter makes a beautiful piece of clay, the clay does not enjoy being pressed and shaped. It does not understand why it is being stretched and formed, but the potter knows exactly what they are making. And every press, every push, every uncomfortable moment of shaping is intentional. It is craftsmanship, not cruelty. I was the potter, you were the clay, and I was making something beautiful. While you were going through the fire, I was not watching you burn. I was watching you become. I was allowing the heat because what I planned to pour into you needed more room than you had before the process began. Your heart is bigger now. Your faith has layers it did not have before. Your understanding is deeper. Your compassion is richer. You do not just know about struggle from a distance anymore. You know it from the inside. And that knowing makes you the kind of person who can carry what I am about to place in your hands. Had I given you the promise before the process, it would have crushed you. Not because you were weak, but because you were not yet built for it. A building that goes up too fast without a strong foundation will collapse when the wind comes. So I took my time with your foundation. I built it deep. I built it solid. I built it to last. And now your heart has the depth it needs. Your faith has the muscle it needs. Your spirit has the roots it needs. You are not just ready to receive the promise. You are ready to carry it, to steward it, to protect it, to multiply it. You have become someone worthy not because you earned it, but because you endured it. So when you look back at the battles, try not to hate them. Try instead to see them for what they truly were. They were not detours. They were training. They were divine workouts that built the spiritual strength you now carry. Every hard season was a class in the school of destiny, and you passed every single one. And so here we are on the other side of the fire. You with your wounds turned into wisdom, your scars turned into stories, your pain turned into a kind of power that cannot be manufactured or faked. And me still here just as faithful as I was on day one. Now speaking into the places that once only knew silence. It is time. The release that is coming is not random. It is not sympathy. It is not me feeling sorry for you and deciding to throw you a bone. This is strategy. Divine, perfectly planned, precisely timed strategy. It was never about punishing you through the waiting. It was about preparing the platform that your promise will stand on. Because this blessing is heavy. And now your shoulders are strong enough to hold it. Not in pride, not in arrogance, not in haste, but in wisdom, in humility, in holy fire that does not burn others, but lights the way for them. So when you step into this next chapter, do not forget where you came from. The heartbreaks, the silences, the delays, they all had one thing to say behind your back. Get ready, the real thing is on its way. And child, it is here, if you are being blessed by these words. If you feel something stirring deep inside your spirit right now, please take a moment to subscribe to this channel. These messages are poured out with love for you, and your support helps this voice reach more people who need to hear what God is speaking. Subscribe right now and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a message meant for you. My dear child, we are committed to spreading hope, faith, and the message of Jesus Christ to people around the world. If you would like to help us continue this work, please visit PayPal links below. Your kindness means more than words can express. Dr. Kashkal, you have spent a lot of your life looking for signs. You lay out conditions in your heart. If this happens, I will know it is God. If that door opens, I will know it is real. You have needed external markers to feel safe enough to believe. And in my kindness, I have honored that I have spoken to you through sunsets that took your breath away. Through the words of a stranger who said exactly what you needed to hear at exactly the right moment. Through a scripture that jumped off the page when you were not even looking for an answer. But child, I need you to hear something important. This next move is different. This next chapter does not begin with a sign. It begins with something deeper, something that cannot be shaken by circumstances or confused by coincidence. It begins with knowing. Not the kind of knowing that lives in your head, the kind that lives in your bones, the kind that wakes you up in the middle of the night and fills you not with fear but with a quiet and unshakable certainty. The kind that says something is happening even when nothing around you has changed. Yet you feel it already, do you not? That stirring, that strange deep sense that something is shifting, that unexplainable inner movement that you cannot trace to a sermon you heard or a post you read. That is not your imagination. That is not you getting worked up emotionally. That is my spirit inside you bearing witness to what I am already doing. It is the witness of heaven touching your spirit from the inside. This time I am not asking you to interpret signs. I am asking you to interpret your spirit. What is happening within you right now is more reliable than anything you could see with your physical eyes. The shift has already occurred on the inside. Your atmosphere is pregnant with music, purpose, and I need you to stop waiting for an external confirmation and start walking with an internal consecration, because this is holy ground and you are standing on it. Do you trust me enough to move without seeing the full map? Are you willing to take a step when the evidence is invisible, but the pull in your spirit is undeniable? Because this time it will not be clouds parting dramatically in the sky. It will be your spirit catching fire from the inside. And that is how you will know that burning in your chest that will not go away. That clarity that drops into your mind without warning, like a download from a place higher than your own thinking. That knowing that refuses to be argued away no matter how loud the doubts get. That is me, all of it. That is me. I am not just nearby. I am moving. I am not just hinting. I am announcing this is the moment when you stop asking, "Is that you, God?" and start declaring, "God, I hear you, and I am coming." Lean into the knowing. Do not wait for lightning. The signal I am sending is steady and strong. It does not shout, it summons, and it is summoning you right now. Not to perform, not to impress anyone, not to prove something, to position yourself for what I am releasing. This is the place where your faith grows up, where it stops being about feelings and becomes about fire. I will not always give you external confirmation for what your spirit is already sensing. Sometimes the sensing itself is the confirmation. You were never made to stay at a beginner level of faith. You were made for deep communion with me, and that communion is calling you forward now. Not with visible signs, with invisible certainty. You have received the signal. Now move, my dear child. Let me now speak about the silence. That long, heavy, confusing season music where it felt like your prayers were going nowhere, where heaven seemed to have gone quiet, where my presence felt distant and my voice seemed completely absent. You replayed your choices over and over. You asked yourself what you did wrong. You wondered if I had simply moved on and left you behind. But now I pull back the curtain and show you the truth. My silence was never absence. It was strategy. What felt like me turning away was actually me drawing a protective veil around what I was doing inside you. Because what I was building in you during that silence was too sacred, too precious, too important to be exposed while it was still forming. Just the way a baby grows in the quiet darkness of a womb, I hid you during your forming season. I shielded you not to isolate you from the world, but to insulate you from what would have damaged what I was growing. If I had exposed you too early, people would have seen the process and misunderstood it as failure. They would have seen the raw, unfinished, still forming version of what I was making and called it broken. But I knew it was not broken, it was becoming. So I covered it, I protected it. I gave it time and space to develop without the pressure of outside eyes. During that silence, your gifts were taking root. Your discernment was developing into something sharp and trustworthy. Music, your anointing, was being strengthened in ways that only fire can produce. You were not forgotten. You were being formed in the most careful, intentional, loving way I know how to form someone. Do you remember those moments during the silence when you almost gave up, but something kept you standing, that invisible pull that would not let you walk away? That was me. I was holding you in place. I was tethering you to your purpose. When everything around you felt like it was dissolving, you could not explain it. You just knew you could not leave because I would not let you. My hand was on you even when you could not feel it. The silence was never emptiness. It was a holy incubation. And now, as that silence gives way to sound, as the stillness begins to stir, I need you to reframe everything you thought about that season. You were not delayed, you were divinely hidden. And what I hide, I always reveal with power. The concealment was equal to the glory of the revealing. What I whispered into you in secret, I now declare over your life openly. What I protected and nurtured in the quiet, I now release into the world. And when you emerge, when you step forward, carrying everything I built into you during the silence, people will not understand where you came from so suddenly. They will wonder how you became this, and you will smile because you will know the answer. You came from the silence, and you carry the mark of the one who never left. My K-Child ES ministry exists to bring encouragement, prayer, and God's truth to every heart that needs it. You can stand with us through PayPal, links in the description and pinned comment. May God bless you abundantly for your love and support. Dr. R. Kaishi D. Now hear me with the deepest part of your spirit. The place you are stepping into next is not simply a breakthrough. It is not just the answer to a prayer, as wonderful as that would already be. This is something far bigger, far weightier. This is the beginning of rulership. This is the moment where you stop merely surviving my goodness and start walking in the authority I designed you to carry. I did not bring you through the wilderness just to give you a gift and send you home. I brought you through the wilderness to shape you into a ruler. Because what I am releasing into your life now is not just a personal blessing. It is authority. It is influence. It is a mantle that extends beyond you and touches the lives of everyone connected to you. You have been trained in the school of tears. You have studied in the classroom of trials. You have passed the hardest tests that I could give you. And now I speak the graduation over your life. It is time to rise, to govern the ground I promised you, to speak not just from testimony but from territory, to stop asking for a seat at the table, and to understand that I have called you to build the table. You are not an extra in this story. You are a ruler in the realm. I am handing you and I am activating something in you right now, a new way of seeing yourself, a royal identity that looks past the struggle and sees the structure I am building. A mind that thinks like the hare you are, not like someone still begging at the door. You will no longer accept crumbs at tables I called you to own. You will no longer apologize for the space you take up. You will no longer shrink your voice to make others comfortable with their smallness, because this moment marks a transfer of spiritual keys that unlock things in your life that have been closed for far too long. You asked for a blessing. I will give you that. But I am also giving you something greater. Responsibility. This throne is not for decoration. It is for purpose. You are being given jurisdiction over the things that tried to break your bloodline for generations, the cycles that kept your family in the same painful patterns, the poverty of mind, the poverty of spirit, the poverty of identity that whispered to your parents and their parents before them. You are being raised up to break all of that. You are not rising just for yourself. You are rising for the children who will come after you. You are rising for the communities that need someone brave enough to lead with love and truth. You are rising for the kingdom purposes that will only be unlocked through your obedience. So take your place not with pride, with reverence. Take the robe not as a costume you are trying on, but as a confirmation of who you have always been. This is your hour. The angels are not simply cheering you on. They are escorting you to your assignment. So do not shrink back. Do not ask, who am I to deserve this? I am the one who tells you who you are. You are mine, my child, my chosen one, my image bearer, and I do not call anyone to a throne without giving them everything they need to reign. So rise, take the authority I am handing you. Wield your voice with love and justice and holy fire. The world has been waiting for the version of you that knows what it carries. My dear child, I need to speak now about the people who left, the relationships that changed, the doors that closed on friendships, partnerships, and connections you valued. Some of those endings felt like betrayal. You asked yourself what you did wrong. You replayed conversations, wondering where things broke down. You felt the sting of people walking away when you needed them most. But I need you to hear this truth. Not every ending is abandonment. Not every departure is a wound. Some of those people were meant for a season, not a lifetime. Some were sent to build something in you, not to stay with you forever. Some were scaffolding that I used during the construction of who you are becoming. But scaffolding comes down when the building is ready to stand on its own. You mistook their expiration for rejection. But it was not rejection. It was a divine reroute. Because where I am taking you next, not everyone from your past can follow. Not because they are bad people, but because the soil of your next season requires a different kind of companion. The people you need for where you are going are not the same people who helped you survive where you have been. You asked for a higher level, but higher levels require different environments. I am not just elevating your circumstances, I am editing the atmosphere around you. I am carefully, lovingly removing what would have stolen your focus, diluted your calling, or misinterpreted the new version of you that is emerging. People who only knew you in the old season would look at the new you and not understand it. Their confusion would have hurt you. Their words would have pierced what I am building in you. So I moved them before the building was complete. This is not cruelty, this is care, and I promise you I will never leave you empty. I do not clean out your circle to leave you alone. I clean it out so that what fills it next is the right fit. The right people are coming, people who match your mission, people who can handle your growth, people who will not be intimidated by your anointing but fueled by it. Right now it feels like a tearing. I understand that loss always has a sting even when it is part of the plan. But I promise you this tearing is also a healing because what you are being freed from was quietly holding you back, and what you are being freed for is worth every painful goodbye. I am not asking you to be cold or cruel to those who left. I am asking you to be clear on where I am taking you, clear on what I have called you to build, clear on who you are even when no one is watching and no one is clapping. This clarity is the final preparation before the release, because I cannot give you the fullness. If your hands are still clinging to what I asked you to let go, trust me as I prune and reposition. Let the exits happen without bitterness. Let the doors close without you banging on them, trying to force them back open. If I allowed it to fall away, it is because it could not carry the weight of what is coming. You are not being reduced. You are being refined, brought down to the purest, most powerful version of your calling, so that when the glory comes, nothing will be mixed in with it, just you and me and the fire that is released when obedience meets destiny. This is not me changing my mind about you. This is me clearing the road so that everything I promised can arrive without obstacle. If this message is speaking to your heart right now, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. You never know who is one word away from breakthrough, who is sitting in silence wondering if God still sees them. Your share might be the exact thing that keeps someone going. So pass this along today and help carry this message to the person who needs it most. My dear child, let me now talk about the quiet years. The years where you were being faithful without any fanfare. The years where you said yes to me and no one applauded. Where you gave your time, your energy, your resources, your prayers, and received nothing that the world would call impressive in return. You served without recognition. You prayed without visible answers. You kept going without the encouragement most people need to keep going. You thought no one noticed, but heaven noticed everything. Every hidden seed you planted in faith, every silent act of obedience that cost you something real, every sacrifice you made when no spotlight was shining on it, every prayer you offered at 2 a.m, when you were the only one awake, every moment you chose integrity, when the shortcut was right in front of you. I saw all of it. Heaven saw all of it. Music, and it was recorded. It was counted. And now it is about to be rewarded publicly in ways that will take your breath away. You have been building something through every private yes. A bridge that you are about to walk across into the open reward. Music that I have been preparing on the other side. I am not just rewarding your actions. I am honoring your consistency because consistency is rare. It is easy music to be faithful for a week after a powerful spiritual experience. It is rare to be faithful year after year in the quiet, unglamorous, ordinary seasons of life, and you did it. You could have turned bitter. Many people do when the process goes on long enough. They start to feel cheated. They start to wonder why others seem to be getting what they deserved. But bitterness never grew in you, not permanently. You shook it off. You chose worship over resentment. You chose trust over bitterness. You could have taken the shortcuts. You could have compromised your values to get ahead faster. You could have pretended, performed, manipulated your way into something that looked like success, but was hollow on the inside. But you did not. You stayed the course. You kept your hands clean. You kept your heart tender. You kept your conscience clear, and you could have stopped being holy when no one was watching. But you chose to honor me even in the moments where only I could see. And child, that is what trust is made of. That private faithfulness is exactly why I can now trust you, not just with the promise, but with the platform. Because you will not worship the reward. You will remember the cost. You will not get proud about the arrival. You will carry the oil of every sacrifice it took to get here. And that oil is what will keep you grounded when the blessing becomes visible to the world. D. Kyle D. If these messages have brought peace to your heart, strengthened your faith, or reminded you of God's love, please consider supporting this ministry through PayPal links below. Together we can continue sharing hope in God's Word with countless souls around the world. My KH, the breakthrough that is coming is not just for you, it is through you. People will see the fruit of your life and never know the fire it grew from. They will experience the sweetness of what you carry and never realize it was watered with years of tears and seasons of silence. But you will know, and that knowing will keep you humble, anchored, real. This next chapter is not about proving the people wrong who doubted you. It is about proving me right. I always knew you were the one who would keep going when the going got hard. I always knew you would trust me when the path went dark. I always knew the consistency you showed in private would one day be celebrated in public. So lift your head, square your shoulders. The hidden is about to become heralded. The seed is about to become visible. The silence is about to become a sound that reaches farther than you ever imagined. And you are about to become the living proof that faithfulness is never wasted, that what is done in secret for the right reasons always finds its way into the light in the right season. My dear child, before you were born, before your name was spoken by any human voice, it was already known in heaven. Your life was not an accident. Music, you were not born into random circumstances and left to figure things out alone. You were an answer to prayers that were prayed long before you arrived. Your grandparents' tears, your great-grandparents' groaning prayers, the quiet, desperate pleadings of ancestors you never met, who were too poor or too weary or too broken to even find the right words, music, but who cried out to me anyway in the best way they knew how. I heard all of it. I bottled every tear. I kept every prayer. Not one of them fell unnoticed. And now those prayers are coming back as oil poured out over your life. You are not just receiving something for yourself. You are stepping into a harvest that spans generations. You are the fulfillment of someone else's faith. Your breakthrough is their answered prayer. Your freedom is what they were crying for. Your promotion is the inheritance they prayed would reach their bloodline. You have felt it your whole life. Have you not that sense that you were born for something more? That you carried something old and sacred inside you? That your life was not just about you? That it was connected to something much bigger? That was not ego. That was legacy speaking. That was the spiritual weight of generations resting upon you. Not to crush you, but to call you forward. You carry their dream in your very DNA. Their hope is written into the way you reach for more. Their prayers are woven into the fabric of your faith. And now I am making good on every word I ever whispered to them by blessing you, their child, their legacy, their answer. This blessing that is arriving will not just meet your needs, it will fulfill their faith. You are the one chosen to complete what they started. You are the one selected to walk the path they only dreamed about from a distance. You are the finisher of a relay that started long before you picked up the baton. So walk into this next chapter with reverence for the ones who came before you. Carry this favor with an awareness of what it costs to get here. Speak, you did not start this story, but you, my beloved, you will finish it. And you will finish it with glory. My dear child, I spent a long time calling you out of things, out of bondage, out of limitation, out of patterns that were draining the life from your destiny, out of relationships and habits and mindsets that were keeping you small. And yes, I called you out, I brought you out, I separated you from things that were pulling you under. But that was only half of the story, because I did not just call you out of something. I am now calling you into something. And what I am calling you into is unlike anything you have known before. Music, this is not a repeat of an old victory. This is not a recycled version of what you already experienced. This is a new realm, a dimension of living that is soaked in strategy, power, purpose, and glory. A level of life so different from what you have known that it will take your spirit a moment to adjust to the size of it. You have mastered the art of surviving. You know how to endure. You have learned to hear my voice in the wilderness, in the silence, in the hard and lonely stretches. But the wilderness is behind you now. And in front of you is the land I promised. Not just land, but dominion. Not just resources to get by, but a reign over a territory I am entrusting to you. You have been living as a wanderer long enough. I now call you a ruler, a governor, a person of authority in the realm I am opening before you. This next season will not require more of the kind of striving you have been doing. It will require more resting, not lazy rest. The rest of someone who knows their position and does not need to fight for it. The rest of someone who has received their inheritance and is now learning how to steward it. You will do more from a place of peace than you ever did from a place of performance because you are not walking into hustle. You are walking into inheritance. But this new realm will require a new language. You cannot carry the vocabulary of the old season into this new one. You cannot speak the tongue of fear and lack and barely getting by in a land where I have called you to reign. You have to learn to speak what is true about you in this new place. You are not someone barely making it. You are someone strategically positioned by God to govern what others called impossible. You passed the test that earned you access to this realm. You survived the shaping that prepared you for it, and now I give you the key. You are not just invited, you are expected. The doors are not creaking open cautiously, they are swinging wide open with welcome, so step in. Your spirit already knows this place. It has been longing for it since before you could name the longing. My dear child, I know you feel it, that internal tension, that strange awareness that something is different, even though everything around you still looks the same. You cannot fully name it, but you know it is real. The ground beneath your feet feels different than it did before. Something has shifted. Let me tell you what is happening. That is not anxiety. That is alignment. I am not just rearranging the surface of your life. I am rebuilding the deep structure beneath it, the foundation underneath your faith, your identity, your sense of what is possible. Because the magnitude of what I am about to release into your life cannot sit on an old foundation. It needs a new one, bigger, stronger, deeper, more able to hold the weight of glory. You asked for next-level blessings, but next-level blessings require next-level blueprints. And so I am not just giving you a new set of circumstances. I am reforming the way you see yourself. I am going deep into the beliefs that shaped your vision for too long, the beliefs that told you you were not enough, that you had already been passed over, that you were meant for ordinary. I am going into the memories that twisted your confidence, the vows you made in pain that I never asked you to make. Speak. Speak the walls you built to protect yourself that ended up imprisoning you instead. I am going there not to shame you, not to expose you to others, but to set you free from frameworks that protected your past, but would poison your future. The blessing I am sending is not going to just land in your life and sit there. It is going to live. It is going to flow. It is going to be like a river that does not dry up. But rivers need channels to flow through, and so I am reroading and recarving the pathways inside you. I am digging deeper levels of capacity. I am broadening your ability to trust. I'm clearing the wells of faith that got clogged with disappointment over the years. That is why everything has felt like it is shifting beneath your feet, because it is. But this is not chaos. This is construction. I am laying new beams of wisdom under your thinking. I am pouring fresh certainty into the places where doubt made the ground soft. I am anchoring you in truth in a way that has never happened before. So do not panic during this shifting. Do not rush to make it stop. Do not mistake this holy renovation for falling apart. You are not falling apart. You are being rebuilt, stronger, more ready, more able, because when the next wave arrives and it is already forming on the horizon, I do not just want you to survive it. I want you to house it, and for that, your internal structure must match the external abundance I am bringing. My dear child, every video is created with prayer, time, and dedication to reach those who may be searching for encouragement and faith. By supporting this ministry through PayPal, you help keep this mission growing and touching more lives each day. God bless you abundantly. Kyle, I hear the question you have been carrying, the one you ask quietly, sometimes just in your own heart, sometimes out loud when you think no one is listening. When, Lord, when will it happen? When will I see it? When will I actually hold it in my hands? And here is what I need you to understand. You are not waiting for the moment anymore. You are standing in it. Look around. Look within. What you have been praying for, fasting for, believing for, through tears and silence and stubborn hope, it is not still on its way, as if it is far off in the distance. It is arriving right now. The pressure in your chest is not more waiting, that is arrival. That stirring in your spirit is not another season of holding on. That is the trembling of something about to break through. I have taught you how to wait. Now I am teaching you something new, how to recognize when the waiting is over. Because if you keep calling this a delay when it is actually a delivery, you will miss what I have already placed in your hands. I have not been teasing you with glimpses of what might happen someday. I have been pulling the veil back between the seen and the unseen, and the veil is almost completely lifted. The reason your spirit has been so restless lately is because it can sense the proximity of what was promised. Heaven has already released it. The order has already been signed. The dispatch has already been made. But your awareness needs to rise to match what I am already doing. This is where many people fall short. They pray for the rain. And then when the clouds gather, they panic about the dark sky. They ask for change. And when the wind shifts around them, they resist it because it feels unfamiliar. Do not do that now. Do not second guess what your spirit already knows. This is not another round of testing. This is the manifestation. Stop saying, end quote, I hope this happens, end quote, and start saying, end quote, I receive what has already been released, end quote. Stop asking, end quote, is this it, end quote, and start declaring, end quote, this is it, end quote. Because when your words align with what heaven has already decreed, your atmosphere responds. Things begin to move in the seen world to match what is already established in the unseen one. This is your crossover point, the day where hope becomes history. Speak, where prophecy becomes possession, where the dream you kept holding on to finally becomes the life you wake up inside. Not later, not eventually, not someday. Now. Please take just a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. These messages take time and love to create, and your support means that more people who are hurting, waiting, doubting, and hoping can find these words when they need them most. Hit subscribe and let this community be a place where you come back whenever you need to hear God speaking over your life. My dear child, let me unveil the deeper reason for the wait, the real truth behind the timing that has felt so long. You thought the promise was being held back because of something I was waiting on outside of you, a circumstance to align, a person to be in place, a season to arrive. But the real reason the promise tried was this. I was waiting for you to catch up to who you really are. I could not place a crown on a head that was still bowing to shame. I could not release authority to hands that were still shaking with unworthiness. I could not pour blessing into a heart that was still dammed up with self-doubt. Not because I did not want to, but because if I had, you would not have been able to receive it. It would have passed through you without landing. Or worse, it would have landed in the old version of you and been mishandled. So I waited not to punish you, to protect what I was sending. Because, my child, destiny is not just about timing, it is about identity. I do not bless performances, I bless alignment. And what I have stored up for you is too valuable, too holy, too carefully prepared to be handed to someone who does not yet know what they are worth. I needed you to unlearn the lies, to step away from the mirrors that showed you a distorted reflection, to let me carefully remove the layers of self, doubt, and shame that had coated your spirit over the years. Not because I was frustrated with how long it took, but because every layer that came off made more room for what I was giving. The blessing was not waiting on the calendar, it was waiting on your confidence. Not arrogance, not striving to prove yourself, but that still deep quiet knowing that says, I am who God says I am, and I am worth what God says I am worth. And now you are beginning to see it. You are beginning to catch glimpses of the original design I had in mind when I made you before time began. You are starting to feel the fire of your true name, the name I gave you, not the one the world assigned based on your mistakes or your background or your limitations. The name that comes from covenant, from purpose, from love. You are shedding the costume of survival and stepping into the true identity I always intended for you, and because of that shift, the dam is breaking. The flood is coming. The very thing you needed was not more information. You needed more vision. You needed to see yourself clearly. And now that you do, I can trust you with everything I have been holding for you. You will hold it without fear. You will steward it without shrinking. You will grow it without apologizing for having it. So do not go back to smallness. Do not rehearse the old script of self-doubt like it is the truth. You have crossed over into a new way of seeing, and I am not going to repeat this call. I am releasing myself through you now. What is coming is not just a blessing, it is a becoming. This is the version of you that darkness hoped would never fully wake up. But here you are fully awake, fully seen, fully ready. Let me take you back to a specific moment. I do not need to name it for you. You know the moment I am talking about, the time you obeyed me and it cost you everything. When it did not make logical sense to anyone watching. When no one came to cheer you on or even acknowledge the sacrifice. When the yes you gave me felt more like a wound than a victory. Speak. What you did not know in that moment is that your obedience was not a single act. It was a trigger, a catalytic key, not for just one door, for a chain reaction that began in the heavenly realm the moment you said yes. In my kingdom, obedience does not end quietly. It multiplies. When a person says yes in the natural world, shock waves go out through the spiritual one. And now those shock waves have reached a critical point. They have built up enough momentum to produce something extraordinary in your visible life. Behind the scenes of your life, during all the waiting, things were being moved. Alignments were shifting, resources were being routed toward you, relationships that will matter to your future were being positioned. Doors ahead of you were being unlocked, all of it because you did not flinch when it was hard. All of it because your yes was louder than your fear. This is not random favor. This is ripple effect favor. One decision made in secret and in obedience opened 10 doors you did not even know to pray about. One moment of surrender is about to produce a harvest you never specifically asked for, because I told you before, I am a multiplier. And now you will see it with your own eyes. What is coming is not just a blessing. It is overflow, not drop by drop, wave upon wave, not just for you, but flowing through you to everyone connected to you. Your obedience did not just create a breakthrough for your own life, it created a legacy. You did not just walk into something, you broke a dam that has been holding back generational abundance. So do not brace yourself just for one open door. Get ready for more than you can manage all at once. Opportunities will arrive in overlapping waves. Invitations will come from directions you never looked. What felt like endless drought will suddenly feel like a deluge. You will ask, why now and why all at once? And I will whisper to you, music, because you were faithful in the quiet. Because you said yes before the reward showed up. And now I reward you in ways that go far beyond what you thought to ask for. The avalanche has begun, and it will not stop until every single thing I promised has crashed beautifully into your life. My dear child, a single act of kindness can help Godandapos' message reach someone who needs hope today. If you feel blessed by this channel, you can stand with us through the PayPal links in the description and pinned comment. Thank you for helping us spread Godandapos' love one soul at a time. Dear Kyle, I have watched you fight in places where no one could see you. I have seen you smile in public while your soul was bruised and bleeding in private. You fought battles not on a stage where people could see your courage, but on your bedroom floor at 3 a.m. No cameras, no applause, just you, the weight of everything in me. While others saw your composure, I saw your courage. While the world admired what they thought was your strength, I was watching your surrender. The moments where you gave me the broken pieces and trusted me with them, those were your greatest moments, not the times when you were performing well, the times when you were honest with me about how hard it was. You wrestled in the unseen, you stared down despair. You chose to trust me even when worry was clawing at your chest. You chose worship when everything in you wanted to collapse. And now I say to you with all the weight of heaven behind these words, you did not fight for nothing, you fought for everything. What you did not know while you were praying in your kitchen, while you were lying face down in your room, while you were crying in your car before walking into a situation you could barely face, is that every whispered prayer, every tear, every declaration of trust you made through cracked lips, it was shaking things in the spiritual realm. Your quiet prayers were louder in heaven than you could ever imagine. Your tears created tremors. Your declarations of trust speak. Even the ones you made while bleeding from betrayal were issuing commands into the atmosphere. Every time you said, God, I still trust you. Even when it hurt to say it, you were issuing a decree. And that decree has been building in power over all of this time. And now the final blow has been struck. The tide has turned. What once tormented you is now under your feet. Not because you fought perfectly, but because you did not stop fighting. And now I move you from warfare to witness, from the battlefield to the banquet table, from fighting for your place to ruling from it. You will not need to fight like that again. Not because the enemy is gone, but because your position has changed. I am assigning angels now not to guard you in battle, but to prepare your table. Your banquet is being set in the presence of the very things that tried to destroy you. and they will watch you feast, not in shame and splendor. They will want to understand how you came back from all of that. And you will point up. The glory will not just rest on you, it will shine through you. So take off your armor for now. You will carry your authority not in a weapon in your hand, but in the power of your voice, because your voice has authority now that it did not have before, and your territory has expanded to hold it. The war is over, and what comes next is not revenge on anything that tried to break you. What comes next is reward. My dear child, you have been taught all your life to chase, to hustle, to push, to prove, to strive. You have run after breakthrough like it was a moving target, pouring out your energy, your time, your health, trying to force what I always intended to simply give. And you are tired from the running, I see it, but hear me now. This next fulfillment you do not have to chase. It has been programmed with your coordinates. It will find you, not because you forced your way to it, but because you are finally in position for it to reach you. There is a kind of movement in my kingdom that is not produced by running harder. It is produced by resting deeper, not the passive rest of someone who has given up, but the active, intentional rest of someone who knows who they are, where they stand, and what they have been given. You have spent years digging and building and believing the foundations are laid. The signal has been sent. The promise is on its route. And the promise is not looking for someone impressive. It is not going to the person with the biggest platform or the loudest voice or the most put-together life. It is looking for someone aligned and child that is you. You are no longer chasing the promise because you have become the dwelling place it is looking for. You are not running toward it. It is running toward you. So stop asking what more you need to do. The work now is to believe that what I said is done. The work now is to stay open, stay yielded, stay in position. Because you have shifted into a realm where things find you, where destiny walks up and taps you on the shoulder, where doors open not because you pounded on them, but because your obedience already did the knocking on your behalf. You are not behind. You are not missing it. You are magnetic now to everything holy and everything aligned with your purpose. You walk the narrow road, and now the promise is walking toward you on it. And when it arrives, it will come with ease, not because it is light, but because you are finally strong enough to receive it without dropping it, without shrinking away from it, without talking yourself out of it. When it comes, your spirit will not ask whether it is real. Your spirit will say, "This is what I was, music, made for." So stay aligned, stay pure, stay yielded. What is coming has your name written into its very essence. It is not random, it is not late, it is perfectly divinely exactly on time. And it is already on its way to you. My dear child, now that my word has soaked into your spirit, now that you have heard what I have been speaking over your life, I need you to understand something that changes everything. You are not waiting for the answer anymore. You have become it. This is the threshold where prophecy stops being something you hear and starts being something you carry. You have longed for confirmation for so long, but now I give you something higher than confirmation. I give you commission. You are not just a person who received a word. You are a carrier of its fulfillment. You are a living testimony of what happens when someone keeps believing long past the point where belief is comfortable. Your tears were not invisible. They were transformed into the ink of testimony. Your scars are not proof of how badly you were hurt. They are now seals of how completely you were healed. The moment you began receiving what I have spoken over you, something eternal began moving in you. And now that you know who you are, what has been spoken, and where you are going, you are accountable to walk in it. No more rehearsing defeat, no more apologizing for the favor on your life, no more shrinking to make others comfortable with their limits. This is the moment of divine maturity. You have grown into the fullness of what I created you for. Let me be clear. The blessing is not about to arrive at some future point. It is already here. But if you keep thinking the way you thought in past seasons, you will overlook what I have already placed in your hand today. I do not need to speak again into what I have already established. My word does not wander around looking for somewhere to land. It lands, it creates, it activates. You ask me to move, and now I ask you a question in return. Will you move? Will you speak as though the answer is here? Will you walk as though the door is open? Will you rise as though the mantle has already landed on your shoulders? Because it has. You are not becoming the one I chose. You already are. You are not preparing to walk in purpose. You are standing in at this very moment. Breathe it in. The air is different here. The atmosphere around you carries the weight of arrival because heaven has already dispatched everything you need. The doors that seemed permanently shut are opening because you have changed. The favor that felt far away is finding you because you are aligned with it now. The things you once only dared to dream about you will now hold in your hands. The moment to receive it is not coming. It is now. Say it out loud if you need to. It is done. The answer has arrived. I am ready. And as you say it, the heavens respond. The angels lean in with celebration. And I, your God, your Father, the one who has been faithful to you through every season, I stand over you with the deepest smile and say, yes, my child, yes, this is exactly what I had in mind for you all along. My dear child, before I close this message, I want you to sit in this one truth for a moment. I have never been disappointed in you, not once. I have always seen the end from the beginning. I have always known how your story would finish, and I chose to love you before you ever did a single thing to deserve it. That love has not changed. It has not wavered. It has not been affected by your worst days or your longest seasons of struggle. I love you with an everlasting love. A love that does not condition itself on your performance. A love that decided on you before you were capable of deciding anything. And it is out of that love that everything I have spoken over you in this message flows. Every promise, every word of encouragement, every declaration of your worth and your calling and your coming breakthrough, it all comes from love. Pure, unconditional, eternal love. So when the days come that feel hard again, and they may because life continues and growth is ongoing, come back to this love. Come back to the memory of this moment when you felt the truth of who you are. Settle into your spirit like something that was always meant to be there, because this truth is permanent. My word over your life does not expire. My call on your life does not fade. My love for you does not depend on your circumstances. You are mine, and I am yours. And together there is nothing in your future that we cannot face. Nothing in your story that cannot be turned to glory. And nothing in your calling that cannot be fully and beautifully fulfilled. The waiting is over, my dear child. The silence has spoken its final word. The battle has fought its last fight. And the promise that has carried your name since before the foundation of the world is now finally, mercifully, gloriously arriving. Step into it without fear. Step into it with open hands and a wide, open heart. Step into it knowing that you did not get here by accident, that you did not survive all of that for nothing, and that the one who called you is faithful and more than able to bring everything he promised to its full and complete fulfillment. This is your moment, not someday, not eventually now. And heaven is standing up to celebrate the arrival of a child who held on just long enough to see it. I love you. I am proud of you. And I am with you every single step of the way. It is done.